President Donald Trump was forced to cancel a campaign rally in Wisconsin after the Secret Service told him they couldn't secure the area. Joe Biden appeared on ABC's The View, where they actually asked him a legitimate question about why he dropped out of the race, and Gwen Walz, Tim Walz's wife, is back on the campaign trail talking to voters like they are in preschool. We'll get to all of that and much more in today's video, but first we turn to MSNBC, where Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo appeared to incite violence against President Trump.
Is the opposite. It's just another lie. Like, how did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good. We have an answer. We have a remarkably talented candidate who is sincere, who's pragmatic, who's open. Let's just get it done.
So much for toning down the heat, so much for toning down the rhetoric. I mean, the Secretary of Commerce is part of the cabinet, so this is an official from the Biden-Harris administration seemingly inciting violence against President Trump when there's not been one, but two official attempts on his life. Joe Biden himself, when he appeared on The View, was joking with Whoopi Goldberg, and they were pretending like Trump was a bug that needed to be squashed. Take a look at this.
And he just wouldn't go. He was like a bug. He just kept being there. He was like a bug right there. So you felt...
So you have someone who is part of the cabinet saying we need to extinguish Trump, and then you have Joe Biden slapping that table as if he's literally crushing Trump, calling Trump a bug. I thought we weren't allowed to call people vermin, bugs, insects. I thought that was, inciting violence, or at least that's what the left told us. This violent rhetoric is all coming from them. And the scary part is that there appears to be, no real security around President Trump. We just found out that he was forced to cancel a campaign rally in Wisconsin because the Secret Service didn't have enough manpower. This is according to Senator Josh Hawley.
Yes, in fact, we have a new whistleblower report tonight, Jesse. Whistleblower with direct knowledge of the Trump campaign and the Secret Service and their interactions tell us that the Secret Service recently told the Trump campaign they could not secure a rally for Donald Trump in the state of Wisconsin. Now, this is interesting because it directly contradicts what the Secret Service Director, Rowe, said last week when he said, Trump is getting exactly the same level of protection as Kamala Harris and the sitting president. Really, because Kamala Harris just held a rally in Madison, Wisconsin, and I am told by a whistleblower with direct knowledge of the situation that Secret Service says that Trump should not and could not have a rally in Wisconsin because Secret Service could not protect him and adequately staff it. This calls into question, Jesse, what they're saying about staffing. It calls into question what they're saying about parity between Harris and Trump. And once again, it underscores the fact they're not telling us the whole truth.
Yeah, it is. They are not telling us the whole truth. There is still a lot we don't know about the second assassination attempt. We still hardly know anything about the first one. And then on top of that, I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently there was a video posted on the Ayatollah's website, the terrorist regime in Iran. And they posted this video basically mapping out an assassination attempt on the golf course. And it just so happened, it was like this mini robot, and I'm not going to post it here because I don't want to amplify the hateful message that it sends, but it was like this robot going on the golf course appearing to, go after Trump at the very same spot where Ruth, and thank you guys for letting me know in the comments how you pronounce his name, where Ruth was spotted, where he was staked out. But what's really frightening is that the president and a cabinet member, instead of leading by example, they are actively turning up the heat, turning up the rhetoric, heating up the rhetoric, just weeks before an election. It's really terrifying stuff, and yet they want to call Trump the threat to democracy. Now, when Biden was on The View, they actually asked him about why he decided to drop out of the race, and I think his facial expression, his long pause, and what he didn't say says it all.
Did you feel that your hand was forced, and what is your relationship with Speaker Pelosi now?
Our relationship is fine. Look, I never fully believed the assertions that somehow there was this overwhelming reluctance of my running again. I didn't sense that. Mm-hmm. And although the polling, as I said, Biden's polling was different, the fact of the matter is my polling was about, we're always within range of beating this guy.
Yeah.
And, but what I did was, I think there were, it makes sense. There were some folks who would like to see me step aside so they have a chance to move on. I get that. That's just human nature. But that wasn't the reason that I stepped down. I stepped down because I started thinking about it. You know, it's hard to think of, I know you're only 30, but it's hard to think of, it's hard for me to even say how old I am.
And obviously, he began dodging and deflecting to avoid answering the question. And of course, they all chimed in. They threw him a lifeline so he wouldn't actually have to answer the question, because we all know the truth. The Democrat establishment and the elites in the media, they stabbed the knife in Joe Biden's back, they twisted it, and they drug him around the parking lot until he finally screamed mercy, stop, he tapped out. And once he did tap out, now he's the greatest thing ever. Now he is the savior of democracy and a role model that we all, must revere. Yeah, right. Especially when Joe Biden himself is, joking about, squashing President Trump. So much for unity, so much for joy, so much for the humanity of it all. Well, on The View, what was really interesting was how Whoopi Goldberg pronounced Kamala Harris's name.
Where to go with Kamala?
Kamala? Like Camelot? Wait a minute. We've been lectured, right? It's pronounced comma, like the little curvy thing. It's Kamala. If you pronounce it wrong, apparently you're racist. Does this mean that Whoopi Goldberg is now racist? Don't forget, earlier this summer, they lectured us about how to pronounce her name. This was MSNBC.
And I've heard from inside Republican circles and right-wing media that the hate campaign against Kamala Harris has begun. You'll notice they purposefully pronounce her name wrong. They do it all the time. It is on purpose. But the talk is to start that hate campaign and get it going and start it churning.
Yeah. So Whoopi, are you on that hate campaign, Whoopi?
Where to go with Kamala?
Kamala. I mean, hey, Whoopi, I hope you don't get canceled. For some reason, I think her job is safe. Now, speaking of safe jobs, for whatever reason, she should have been fired after her first campaign event. But Gwen Walls is back on the campaign trail. As if her first few appearances weren't cringe-inducing enough, she is back talking to voters like they are in preschool. I mean, if I were a Kamala Harris supporter, I would be really insulted that this is what they bring out to a rally, that this is how little they think of me to talk to me this way. Listen to this.
You ready? Let's hear it loud and clear like we said. Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent.
Not only is it demeaning and condescending to talk to voters that way, there is just something about the Wallses that does not sit right with me, both with Mr. Walls and Miss Walls. I mean, I don't know them personally, obviously, but I have those alarm bells, that inner red flag saying stay away from them, from both of them, just on a personal level. And if I would not like someone on a personal level, I just would not vote for them and would not want them to be a heartbeat away from the presidency. But of course, this is my commentary and my analysis. This is what's going on from my point of view. And I would love to hear how things are looking for you. What do you think about the stories today? What do you think about Gina Raimondo on MSNBC talking about extinguishing Trump once and for all? Is that a dog whistle? Because I think it's a dog whistle. I think it's extremely dangerous rhetoric when you consider that there have been at least 2 assassination attempts on President Trump. When you consider that Iran has now put out statements, and then the Ruth has a bounty out for Trump. That's not a good look at all. And then what do you think about Joe Biden's response on The View? I thought that was really eye-opening, and to me, what he didn't say says it all. Of course, if you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask, but it really does help me in the algorithm to reach more viewers like you. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.